30% additional damage very quickly. Don't need to worry about healing if they die immediately. So I'm curious to see whether or not the bolts do go towards that relic. Otherwise, Brawler's Beatstick, Contagion, Pestilence, all that, Divine Ruin, that's just going to happen.
Anti-heal's going to be necessary against this Leviathans comp. Can the Bolts find a win in Game 1, or will it be the Levi's? Let's throw it over to Dave and Trelly for Game 1.
It's Sunday morning, and the SPL is back with quite a matchup to start off our triple-header day of Smite Pro League action. And anti-heal for the Olympus Bolts, I think it's going to be so important as these builds go on.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they drafted accordingly, right? They have the Cerberus anti-heal built into the kit. They have the Medusa anti-heal built into the kit. They have the Sobek anti-heal built into the kit. They're trying to shut this down as quickly as possible just with the characters they've chosen, not even talking about the builds. You can see Venenu not going for that tier 1 pen, not going for that Divine Ruin. He's going for what seems to be a Chronos Pendant, could be a Rod Tahuti as well, but still, not going for the Divine Ruin is the interesting part.
Uh-oh, Lasbra's over here on left. Wrongyu's been plucked into the back. Lasbra in, and down goes Wrongyu. The Olympus Bolts see an opening for aggression, and they take it. And the Shiva support goes down first. Lasbra has a 1-level lead, has that ultimate over Panatom, who does not have the 9 turns blessing yet, but didn't need it, so Palau remains on the map. And Lasbra, no stranger to early ganks, but Lasbra stuck around here. Panatom does have beads, so this could be an opportunity to burn some off for Lasbra. Panatom scurrying away as best as he can. Up he goes, Zapman galloping away. And Lasbra hits the chains, hits the damage. It's not Panatom who dies, it's Zapman, and a 2-kill swing for the Bolts on left.
Yeah,
Stretch. And so if you're going to be brawling out with some of these tanks or Lasbra, maybe that helps out. Maybe it'll help here in this fight, though. Panatom again scurrying away, and again, Lasbra wins the fight. A double kill for the Olympus Bolts jungler. It's a swift collapse by the Bolts around the mid lane, and Panatom and Wrongyu have just not been able to get it going in the first 7
farm has been pretty solid so far.
Is a collapse over from Shinto here out of the mid lane. Wrongyu blinks forward, gets a knock up onto Barracuda, but a pluck from Awesome Jake sends Wrongyu to the backline, lurking in the waters. This is the last-ditch effort of Awesome Jake to survive here. Tail Whip delays out Wrongyu, but Shinto on his rotation from the mid lane finally gets the Leviathans on the board. First kill of the set for the Atlantis Leviathans, and it takes a rotation all the way around the left side of the map from this hell under the mid lane tower, though. Ven pulls Panatom back in. The 9 turns blessing heal there, making all the difference. And Venenu will live with a sliver of HP.
Yeah, did have to use the beads here, but Lasbra might have a kill opportunity on Zap. Has to hit the Palau shots, and he's got him.
He's got him. How about Wrongyu, though? Wrongyu will dash out. Appreciates the cleanse from Shinto, just in case Jake went in for a pluck. But over on right, finally some action happening in the solo lane. Haddix used the Stygian Torment. Lasbra in. Can the 401 jungler make something happen? Panatom being gunned down by the Taji, and there's not enough damage into the Cerberus as Haddix found his first kill of the game. Now Yarkor left alone as well. There are no beads on this RDO, and the Palau will pull. Lasbra's on a rampage, 5-0.
That's a beautiful 2v2 fight by the Bolts, just recognizing that number 1, as you mentioned, no beads on Yarkor.
In my favor, it's time to take a breather, it's time to farm up and just find these little advantages where I can.
Yeah, Panatom, again, hasn't really itemized into where he wants to go for danks, but looks like Zap could be in some trouble here, taking a lot of damage, ult.
Goodbye, Zap. Doesn't have beads, didn't have ultimate. That's just an easy collapse for the Olympus Bolts. Enough of an advantage for the Bolts to pull the FG, seems to be so.
There's not really too much steal potential here, so the fight is going to have to continue.
Yeah, and the Olympus Bolts are able to drop the FG down to half HP, but they drop the FG entirely, looking for the team fight instead. Stygian Torment goes out. Chain number 1 is good on a Yarkor, and the RDO is pulled right back into the Olympus Bolts. A long-range stun from Haddix. Strikes true onto the backline. Petrify flies as well, and Barracuda's on a killing spree. Shinto sent into the backline of the Olympus Bolts as Panatom desperately dueling out with the Bolts, but he will come up empty-handed. Barracuda, a triple out of nowhere. And now the Fire Giant under the eye of the Bolts.
Yeah, there's no way the Leviathans can show face on this FG anymore. Barracuda, 5-0. Lasbra, 5-0. Both looking very solid in this late-game team fight portion of the game. They get the FG, and it looks like they are just going to run down right side, trying to get a tier 2 here. But I think Lasbra's going to go for the 1v1 on Zap.
Zap has beads, does not have ultimate. Oh my god, that is a chunk of damage I don't think Zapman thought was happening. Nearly turns it around. And Lasbra comes up big. Zapman ends up falling. Would have been nice to be able
here.
to.
So now it looks like the Bolts might be trying to end here.
Wow, they could go in for an end. Rongyu doesn't have ultimate, but neither does Jake. Neither does Lasbra. Are you far enough ahead to win despite being down in ultimates? Double beads burnt off the back lines. That's massive for Yarkor and the rest of the Leviathans. But there's a big double stun on the front line, and Haddix is able to jump in and follow up, though Shinto has finally got a shutdown onto Lasbra. The early fight going fine, going well, going perfectly for the Leviathans, though Yarkor tail whipped up by Awesome Jake. A pluck around the corner could make all the difference, and it's Panatom who has got to use the beads. The Bolts, they lose their jungler. They haven't lost the will to fight. Onto Lasbra in the last Phoenix defense. We're able to keep themselves in this game, though. Look at this, Rongyu with the double pull in on the back line. He is being burnt through, though, as the rest of the Bolts backpedal their way back into the mid lane. The carries are melting, but half HP is as low as they will get. 0 HP is where the Leviathans are headed. Lasbra back around the wall as Zapman desperately searching for a single kill in this game, but it won't arrive. The Olympus Bolts walk into the Titan room, and they'll take game 1.
He didn't even use the SpongeBob blink, Dave. He didn't need to.
Fight Behemoth, Cthulhu, and a Nemesis, which is only going to get stronger and stronger as the game goes on.
You gotta imagine the early call for the Leviathans is gonna be picking up everybody a set of beats here. I mean, you're going up against a Nox, you're going up against all these very heavy CC style of gods. We'll see if the Atlantis Leviathans can pull this back in and take us to a game number 3, or are the Bolts gonna clean sweep this one? Let's jump right into game number 2.
Leviathans need a complete turnaround after game number 1. The Bolts early and often in the face of the Atlantis Leviathans, often on the duo side of the map. The Leviathans reset.
Just canceling out the Wing Gust is going to be super annoying, and obviously if you are Rongyu, hold that thought. We might have an action here.
My goodness, another set of beats burnt, this time at Shinto's, and this time there is a kill. The Olympus Bolts, well, they'll get active in mid. And Lasbra to a 1-kill start is what the Leviathans didn't want after what happened in game number 1.
Beads are gone. I mean, Lasbra, look at this. He's going to go around again. He could do this.
Oh, goodness. Lasbra over in mid one more time. Slow connects. Damage in. Shinto dead. Run it back. 2 kills in less than 2 minutes. Panatom sees an opening. Does get the beads off of Venenu, so at least you turn something around if you're this early on in game number 2. AMC needs a little time to get those items online, though. Panatom also doesn't have beads. A nice double pin out of the Erlang Shen. Silence is great from Awesome Jake. Can Mannequin Scepter and Taunt buy you a kill? Yes, it can. Zapman turns around to kill for the Leviathans, and at least the left side of the map feeling a little bit better for the Leviathans.
I think that was just Jake missing the Shadow Lock. If that hits, I don't think BRZA is in any danger there. Unfortunate, the silence is good, and you were right. One more attempt. If the Centaurus is good,
it is! He got it! Venenu from range hands a 3rd death of the game to Shinto. My goodness, the Olympus Bolts have been relentless. It's going to find its way back into his back pocket, and so he'll be able to stack up that Transcendence. Needs a couple of items. Now, we saw Paul play this pick yesterday, I believe, as Jake looked at by Shinto, and this would be one way back into the game. Stinger falls down. Awesome Jake, though, in the circle of protection. Oh, Spirit Ball gets canceled out early, but Panatom is there for the pin and the kill. And so a kill makes its way in nonetheless.
That was a calculated cancel. He wanted Panatom to get that kill.
Right. We want to give it over to Panatom, get the jungler on track.
Just right now, a little bit behind in the lane, as we mentioned. Zap has had a fair bit of pressure just because of, Rongyu's setup as well. And I think Panatom did show them some presence in the early game. But now it's pretty much just sit back, get your farm, make sure you're warding up and not going up too far in this lane right now.
I think a smart draft here for Haddix as well. You get the Cthulhu, which often is seen as a counter to maybe Panatom right now, as Lasbra's ultimate connects on a Panatom. Venenu sends Centaurus out, and Lasbra's got the last bit of damage. This Erlang Shen has not been able to buy a moment of rest from game number 1 until
always
now.
Having to watch where this Nox is positioning on the map. Currently, no CDR built just yet for Awesome Jake, so we'll have to see as Barracuda gets very weak, but should be able to just weasel his way out of there once again. A lot of pressure onto this duo lane.
Yeah, lots of pressure still mounting. Haddix, what are you doing over here? It's 11 minutes. Solo laners are supposed to hang out in the solo lane for another 5 minutes. Zapman being run at, but Haddix turns his eyes back towards Panatom as the Sentinel Madness wears off. Stinger has connected, and Lasbra will fall. Yarkor also makes a rotation over from solo. Panatom gets his pin, beats out. It's a 3-man 9 turns blessing. It's big from the Erlang Shen. Here's your value. But the Sanctified Field is on all 5 and the Leviathans desperately backing away. There is just not enough damage. Panatom waits it out, blinks forward, gets the knock up onto Barracuda, and he is burned. The Leviathans go down early, but how's that for a team fight? They swing back and they find 2.
Yeah, that was a massive ult by Panatom to at
Into
least set
Hydras.
that up.
And so Stinger and the rotation of abilities, plus the auto attack after the fact, is going to make Shinto feel so strong here. And so I think that's a nod to the mid laner. Goodbye, Rongyu, no chance there, as the Bolts pull one back. A nod to the mid laner to be able to have some resilience and come back in this game.
Yeah, if I'm Lasbro.
A couple of the hives being taken down, or whatever those are on this skin. Awesome, Jake. Uh-oh. Now you've taken a lot of damage. Venenu with Centaurus over the wall. Good damage on a Panatom, but not nearly enough. Spirit Ball does not connect for a stun, but Awesome Jake gunned down. And Shinto with his first kill of the game after starting off 0-3. And you think that's just a nice journey for Awesome Jake. Sweeping fight one way or another may just end up ending the game 17 minutes in. Lasbra blinks forward, gets the ultimate on a Zapman, and watch that health bar shred. Lasbra has the legs, but doesn't have the damage. Disapparate was massive, though. Haddix able to knock down the ADC. Jungler for ADC, Olympus Bolt. Turnaround 1 kill, but Haddix will fall out of his ultimate here at some point. Barracuda, though, big sanctified field, could be a big advantage.
Yeah, Yarkor finally makes the rotation over. A little bit late to the party right now, but still, you're looking at this Gold Fear that is open. The only ult available recognizes that he is an AMC. Everyone who wants to fight him is going to be getting very close as Panatom heads towards this purple buff, and there's a big group here.
Ultimate onto Panatom, and Lasbra trying to find some value in it. Jake dashes forward, double silence on the backside. Whoa, Haddix! Out of right field, into the back of this fight. Disapparate's going to time out here, and Zapman run down by Haddix. Now to silence from Rongyu, on to Awesome Jake. Pin is through from Panatom, but it's only on to 1. And watch the bolts swarm. Circular protection goes through. A nice burst of healing. 3-man stun on the backline from Yarkor, and Sanctified Field will be beads out. And the Ardia will gallop away. What is all of that damage? That's all from Shinto shredding down the Olympus Bolts that has opened up Panatom to a reinitiation. Dash through from Haddix, and he has taunted the 9 turns blessing, buying some time, and Shinto has got all the damage to make those payments. Barracuda knocked up, knocked to the side. We'll have to use the Aegis, but now the Bolts reinitiate the back and forth, the tug of war. The Squid Game's going on here all around the Fury, and the Olympus Bolts come up just short of a few kills as Awesome Jake adds another, but it's Yarkor and Panatom both left alone with Lasbra and Awesome Jake. Panatom turtles back through, lockdown onto Panatom, and Lasbra adds another. Yarkor the last alive.
Are you kidding me? The Bolts were able to run that one back. I really thought the re-engage from the Leviathans was so clutch there, but Lasbra just using his shield effectively, and Yarkor might not be out of this just yet.
What is going on? Won't end up being a deicide. Lasbra gets his second ult in the same team fight. Won't be a deicide because Zapman just respawned.
If you are an Erlong, you want to get to the carries, right? So it's going to be hard to burn down this Cthulhu right now unless Zapman is auto-attacking with his Telekine's Ring.
Here's the thing. There's something about the Bolts and absurd late-game moments, and it just feels like we're barreling towards something like that. This game is a nice double stun, and a silence is out from the Leviathans. Pyromancer confirmed by the Bolts. Sanctified Field on to 3. It's a great start to the fight for the Bolts. Lasbra's in the back line, and Lasbra will strike Paydirt as Barracuda sends some damage up and over the wall. Haddix runs down Zapman, and this is not nearly as even a fight as the Leviathans running for the hills. The Olympus Bolts grouped up as 4, and we are going beyond the tier 2 tower. We are looking for kills. We won't find any, but the Bolts add 2. Both carries gone.
Looks like the tier 2 tower will be looked at here. They have the
off there, 4 versus 4 over on the left side of the map. So often we will see one of these fights break out. Right now, though, it's over on left, and Sanctified Field has got Yarkor using the beats, but he'll go right back into it, so will Rongyu. But initially, the Bolts back away, and suddenly it becomes a 2v1 in mid, and Shinto rotates over, and Lasbra's just stuck around for too long. Though, important to mention, you lose Laz. Able to do so successfully, but now it's Shinto that is sent back. So you're fighting potentially around FG without maybe the strongest member on your team right now. Fire Giant is low, and it's Barracuda just sending some damage into it. The Phoenixes respawn now for the Leviathans, but they will go down to the Fire Minions in just a moment. The Fire Giant's low, up and over the wall, and the Bolts secure the enhanced FG, and look at Haddix. The Absolute Mountain has taken 0 damage, and Rongyu has taken 100% damage. The Bolts get the FG. They snag a kill onto Rongyu as well. Into the backline goes Yarkor, and he will not return. Double kill for Barracuda. Lasbra adds another, and in convincing fashion, the Olympus Bolts will take a 2-0 over the Levies.
They don't even have to run into the Titan Room anymore. These fire minions are going to be able to end the game on their own. Shinto, the last member, running down right lane. And it looks like Lasbra will go for the cutoff here. Finally,
my
this
fantasy
B is gonna
team!
fall.
No, let him live! I don't need one more death. Unreal. Barracuda on a killing spree to end this game. And if you would have told me this was a 2-0, Trelly, at the beginning of the day, if you're saying this set's a 2-0, I'm thinking it has to be the Leviathans based on the way that they played yesterday. And the Bolts have